German politicians from across the political spectrum have condemned a far-right attempt.
It was this earthquake that was commonly associated with the rise of the far right in Europe.
Deutschland und Europa sind in den vergangenen 50 Jahren islamischer, ja auch afrikanischer geworden.
Known for big brands like Adidas, Mercedes, and Nivea, Germany is one of the world's economic powerhouses. But amid their fast cars and stylish clothes, the country is also known for its dark history of dictators and the radical right. During the Second World War, the country was the epicenter of it all, as a National Socialist Party, or the Nazi Party, headed by Adolf Hitler, seized power in the federal parliament, the Reichstag. Adolf Hitler was responsible for the Holocaust and for the fallout of Germany post-World War II. So how did he get so much power? Well, he promised to lift Germany up from its socio-economic crisis during World War I. Now, with the contemporary issues such as the migrant crisis, the Eurozone debt, and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, politicians and analysts are afraid of the recent gains by the far right in both local and federal elections. They're afraid that the far right is shaking up the political order of Germany, and that the issues they're facing today might just help it become more prominent. That's what we're going to be taking a look at today. However, before we look at what's really going on, let's take a step back into history. Remember, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. This is Business Explained. To learn more about all things money, get educated about how to do business, become business savvy, and enjoy more videos like these, subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell, and may you be granted with many, many sweet returns. When looking at the rise of the Nazi Party, one idea comes into mind: crisis. At that time, Germany was reeling back from the aftermath of its defeat in the First World War. With the failing economy, hyperinflation, coupled with the other unfair provisions on Treaty of Versailles, millions of Germans experienced one of the worst qualities of life at that time. Desperate for any good news, many Germans saw the Nazi Party as the answer to everything. Eventually, the party saw this as an opportunity to gain political capital by playing the underdog hero. This was later on manifested at the results of the 1933 German federal election, where they gained a huge chunk of the federal parliamentary seats. Even if they had to create a coalition with other parties, it was only a matter of time that Adolf Hitler and his allies seized total power. After the end of the disastrous Second World War, Germany went through a drastic change from being the military and economic powerhouse of Europe. Members of the once powerful Nazi Party became international criminals, and any support was deemed illegal by the victorious Allied forces. Emerging from the ashes of defeat, the country was divided into two countries: the Federal Republic of Germany, dubbed as West Germany, and the German Democratic Republic, as East Germany. Although there were two different types of governments, remaining supporters of the far right were scattered and remained in hiding. Moreover, both countries created laws and institutions to prohibit any support and imagery of the Nazi Party. Even if there were some far-right parties slowly stepping out of the shadows, they only gained minimal support, which led to their failure or disbandment. But the story became different at the arrival of the German reunification in 1990. From a divided nation to a unified one, Germany slowly regained its economic and political prowess towards the end of the 20th century. Today, the country stands to be one of the major powerhouses in global exports, and a de facto leader in the European Union. However, despite the country's great achievements, they also face and continue to address challenging issues. To make matters even worse, Angela Merkel, Germany's longtime chancellor, has announced that she will no longer be running for a fifth term in the Bundestag in 2021. Given these factors, far-right parties, specifically the Alternative for Germany, see a chance to expand their influence in German politics.
100 Millionen Afrikaner bei allem Respekt, aber wäre Europa dann...
Years after joining the EU, Germany has garnered a prominent position in its institution as it has the largest population and economy in the regional bloc. Since it joined, the country has enjoyed great benefits from integrating its various sectors with other member states. These include economics, agriculture, employment, and even currencies. Despite the rewards, far right-wing political parties have dissented against the country's membership as they deem it as an erosion of German identity. Other than the national identity, these political parties also call out the pro-EU attitude for intruding the country's own laws and constitution, as there are certain areas that are controlled by the EU. Generally speaking, German far-right parties have expressed their resounding opposition to the country's participation in the EU, as it's seen as an attack on the country's soul. Another instance of the growing influence of the far right was during the migrant crisis in 2015, as waves of refugees from the neighboring non-EU states were pouring in. Many EUMS were burdened by the rapid influx. This was due to the fact that the EU did not have the proper mechanism to orderly facilitate the great number of refugees. But despite the adversity, Germany, under the leadership of Angela Merkel, was one of the few countries that welcomed the refugees to live and work in the country. With this policy, many far-right parties saw this as an opportunity of increasing their popularity by demonizing Merkel's decision. Their anti-migrant rhetoric revolved around the idea that they are invaders who seek to corrupt the German identity and leech off of the government's benefits. Similarly, we can also see the rise in popularity with the far-right parties during the Eurozone crisis. Another unpopular decision of Merkel's government was agreeing to pay a grand bailout package for the ailing economies of the Eurozone. For many far-right politicians, this was an opportunity to call out the government as being ignorant to the public's demands. Hence, this event gave more fuel for the far-right to expand their influence. However, in Merkel's defense, she believed that being an EU member entails promoting solidarity and unity among fellow members in times of trouble. When comparing the past and the present, it is clear that the German far-right thrives whenever the government fails amidst time of crisis. Back in post-World War I, it was the mismanagement of the Weimar Republic that led to the inevitable rise of the country's right-wing party. Likewise, it was because of Merkel's unpopular actions that parties such as the AfD were able to gain political capital with the electorate. In general, such developments are clear signs of German history underway of repeating itself, wherein a far-right party has enough political capital to become a prominent voice in the federal parliament. So what happened during the last elections? In the 2017 German federal election, the AfD won 12% of the total seats in the Bundestag, making it the third largest party in the German parliament. Considering this, what is the next move of Angela Merkel and the party of the Christian Democratic Union? So far, she has stood strong against such a reality by adopting a zero-tolerance policy on any potential relationship with the AfD. This was specifically seen this year in the East German state of Thuringia, where the local prime minister candidate was able to win with the support of both the CDU and AfD. Upon hearing the candidate's victory, Angela Merkel demanded that a new election be held and the winner should step down. Generally speaking, the Christian Democratic Union's aim is to starve out the AfD from any political gains in the parliament, whether it be on a state level or federal level. In Merkel's last term, it is safe to assume that she will keep the zero-tolerance policy against parties similar to the AfD. Many political theorists fear that the far right has gained political capital to influence elections, even policies. No matter how small or large each victory they have, it is a clear sign that support is growing for the far right. In addition to that, people also fear that such developments are somewhat reminiscent of the rise of the Nazi Party decades ago, wherein far-right ideologies are becoming normal discussions in mainstream politics. Overall, the far right might still have a long way to match the popularity of the far right back then, but the public should already be alarmed by their growing influence in German politics in order to not let history repeat itself.
This can only work if it is largely ethnic democracy.
What are your thoughts on the German far right? Do you think they'll be able to gain more influence over public opinion? What do you think the current leaders should do in order to mitigate this? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'll be responding to all of you who comment within the first hour. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out my other video titled Foreign Leaders React to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's Resignation, to get an update on another political phenomenon happening across the world. When Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced his resignation, he took the world by surprise. The Prime Minister cited ill health as his reason for deciding to step down. Many world leaders were quick to react to his resignation. After all, he is Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister. Curious about what they had to say? Watch Foreign Leaders React to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's resignation to find out. Stay tuned, stay educated.